Good morning, good morning, good morning, everyone. Welcome back to another edition of News in Motion. Today is Thursday, February 22nd, 2024. We hope that you are having a wonderful week. We know that we may experience some technical difficulties due to the weather outside. It is a little bit raining, or we might have some flashes of lightning, so that may interfere with the radio waves and our network. But just bear with us as we continue to navigate through these technical difficulties. But if this is your first time joining News in Motion, first off, we just want to say thank you for joining us. Welcome. We go live here from Tuesdays through Thursdays at 7:25 a.m. Or if you're not able to catch us in the morning, you can catch us on a replay in the afternoon, the evening, or at the nighttime. We could be found on Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, or any audio and podcast platforms. Today, we also have Town Hall Thursday, the segment y'all all know and love. So be sure to bring the topics, bring the conversation, bring your pen and bring your paper, bring a friend as well. But it's also Throwback Thursday, so we're gonna shout out our live DJ host as he's gonna play some throwback hits for you later on in the day to get you through the work week. I see you to our YouTube viewers. Y'all are coming up in here. I see you, Miss Adrian. Good morning to you, Miss Deborah Johnson. Good morning to you, Miss Regina Shorts. Good morning, Miss Yvonne Gardner. Good morning, Miss Shardinia. Good morning, Dr. Kim Carter. And good morning, Miss Marion Jackson, all who are tuning in through YouTube. We will put the YouTube link in the chat. For our audio and podcast listeners, keep your eyes on the road. You'll be able to check in with us later once you're stationary. But without further delay, y'all know what we do over here. Let's get ready for some News in Motion.
News in Motion.
That music. What about you, Adrian? I still love the remix that Pastor Timothy Carpenter put together. We own that music. Hester, I see you over there all by yourself in Facebook. If you want to come on over to the YouTube, go to youtube.com/Gail Dudley, where you can join that live chat there, or you can stay right there, Facebook, whatever you choose to do. But I see you, Hester, over there in Facebook. I also see, Kim Edmondson came in there. Good morning to you. I see my brother came in there as well. Good morning to you. Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning, everyone. Y'all, I'm excited because it is Town Hall Thursday. Y'all have been loving some Town Hall Thursday. And we have Pastor Derek Holmes returning with us today as well. And again, we want to congratulate him, and I'll do that more officially when we bring him onto the screen. All right, y'all, some real quick headline news before we get started. Dr. Antoinette, she said romper room in full effect. Aren't we in full effect? Here we go. That's called a flashback Thursday or throwback Thursday. But anyway, y'all, just keeping you in the know. What's up, Pastor Alex Williams? And again, y'all, there's a live chat that all of you in YouTube should be able to connect with over there. So let's just have some fun. All right, y'all, the Washington Post report. Y'all better pay attention. That's all I need to say. Pay attention. Before I get to that, let me tell you about some history that was made yesterday in Columbus, Ohio. We call it C-Bus here, those who live here. The Columbus Fury, that's a professional women's volleyball team, kicked off last night at Nationwide Arena, and I was in the house. My friend invited me, Miss Sheila. She said, hey, Gail, this, that, and the other. I was like, I'm there. And she said, and before that, we have a inspirational women's. Now, y'all, first of all, inspirational. Okay, my book is on its way out. Inspirational women's private reception. Can you attend that as well? I sure can. Listen, y'all, I was up in the room. We were on the ground. We were close to the floor where we could reach out. I can't think of the Olympian's name, but a USA gold medal Olympian who plays volleyball for the Olympics was in the house. There were some amazing people in the house. Yeah, I never knew that I loved volleyball the way I did. And they didn't win it to the last point. Okay, so the Columbus Fury women, congratulations to all of you. They won it at the last point, and that place went wild. I mean, I had the best time, and I had when you go places, you're like, I'm really not eating those things, But when you go places, I went back up. When you go to a reception and there's this bar thing, and you like not knowing if it's cash bar, not, they don't roll like that. It's like, get what you want. I was like, you can just have anything. So see, when you don't know how the other people live, you're like, oh, wow, you just go with the flow. But they never knew. I'm telling y'all, I didn't know what I was doing, but they would never have known. I was like, yes, thank you. Have a great day. But anyway, we sat down. And my friend Miss Shelley, she said, now that was some hors d'oeuvre stuff in the reception. She goes, I just want something good. And there was like Jet's Pizza there, if y'all know what Jet's Pizza is all about. What's up, Davia? And I see you, Rodessa and Yvonne, but I wanted a juicy hot dog from the Nationwide Arena. Y'all, that was the best hot dog I've had in years. So y'all, the Columbus Fury, congratulations for your win. We made history last night being a women's professional volleyball. And y'all, volleyball, it's good. Like, I'm like, okay, let me just get the season pass at this point now. So anyway, it was great hanging out with my friend Miss Sheila. Hester says she couldn't find the live on YouTube. Can somebody kind of like, Isaiah, can you chat with Hester in the chat to see if you can get her over there at YouTube? We're going to get you over there, Hester. We're going to get you. All right, y'all, keeping you in the know. The Washington Post, and then we're going to have Derek Holmes in a moment. Keeping you in the know. The headline reads, don't y'all sleep on this. You can choose to sleep on it if you want to, but don't do that. Trump and allies planning militarized mass deportation detention camps. That's the headline. And then they go on to talk about in his year, 2016, 2017, 2018, Trump sought to use military planes and bases for deportation. Y'all kind of remember some of the protests that was going on, but it's really deep when you read into this. Now he and his allies are talking about a new effort that current and former officials warn could be impractical and dangerous. Now listen, these three awesome writers, Isaac Andorf, Nick Misroff, and Josh Dawsey, I think it's Dawsey, excuse me. And y'all be practicing these names, right? Oh, my daughter said I got them right. Anyway, they wrote this piece. They dug deep. I went and did my own my fact check behind them. Y'all, this ain't no joke. So pay attention. Trump pledges, now this is a quote. Trump pledges that as president, he would immediately launch, here's his quote, the largest domestic deportation operation in American history. He also points to Eisenhower-era program known as Operation Wetback. Look up Operation Wetback. You're going to sit back and say, "What? I need to get everybody I can who's not registered to vote to register to vote," and then using Pastor Derek Holmes' words, and then empower them to get out and vote and to get other people to vote. Yep, don't sleep on this. Here's the other quote. Americans can expect that immediately, this is one of his allies, upon President Trump's return to the Oval Office, he will restore all of his prior policies, implement brand new crackdowns that will send shockwaves to all the world's criminal smugglers. Isn't he a criminal smuggler? Anyway. And marshal every federal and state power necessary to institute the largest deportation operation in American history. Now, this is his campaign spokeswoman, Caroline Leavitt. She said this in a statement. She goes on and adds that undocumented immigrants should not get comfortable because very soon they'll be going home. Don't sleep on this. Don't sleep on this. And I find it very interesting. And I saw a little bit more alerts on news this morning, but people are not talking about this. Y'all, this has been out for a few weeks, and it's just now coming to the surface. We got to pay attention. Also in the news, this is coming straight from Alabama. AL.com. I went straight to the source. I'm like, this can't be true. So I had to go to Alabama's news source, and I went through everything, and it's real. Birmingham said yesterday from the health officials from the University of Alabama that they would pause all in vitro fertilization, that's IVF, treatments following a ruling by the state Supreme Court to extend legal rights. I want y'all to hear this. To extend legal rights to frozen embryos used in the procedure. Well, how are you extending legal rights to something that's frozen? I just got a question. I just want to, I'm seeking to understand. So if somebody can help me understand, please do so. Now, just to lighten it a little bit, Kim Edmondson, I owe you so much. Listen, have y'all heard the company called NVIDIA? I was like, okay, Kim taught me stocks, okay? She taught me investment. She educated me in that area. Remember, we had her on News in Motion. Yep, we did. We had Cassandra Cummings on from Build a Bag 2 weeks ago, 2 Tuesdays ago, right? I told y'all my son knew the love I was gaining for this, and I took her class and all that. So I was like, okay, let me see what this NVIDIA is all about. Listen. In option trading, there's a thing called bullish and bearish, and there's a thing called channeling, which means nothing was moving. Nothing was moving yesterday, all day. All eyes were on this company, NVIDIA. If I would have only known that that's how certain people live, I would be a multimillionaire right about now. I might be a billionaire about now. Y'all, listen. When I get off this program today, don't y'all call me until probably 10:30. Because all I know is after what I did yesterday, I'm going to see nothing but green. And I'm already like pumped, like, sound the bell today. Like, seriously, reading, learning, understanding, Black community. If y'all don't learn stocks, hedge funds, options, trading, investments, you're missing out. Give up the Jordans, give up the Uggs, give up the smartphones, give it all up. When you ask, listen, young people, if any young people are tuning in, because I know some of you are still tuning in, for birthdays, Christmas, ask for cash. Not even a gift card, because you can't use those. Ask for cash. And set you up some trading up. I was like, what? If I would have known this years ago, it'd be a different situation, y'all. And it's amazing. This is all news. The research, this is all news. It's amazing how Wall Street, all the financial institutions, everything were waiting for the earnings for NVIDIA. I was like, why is the whole world stopped behind this? Y'all, it's all connected to everything else that's going on. And then prior to their earnings, we had Chairman Powell come out, letting us know, where's inflation, what's happening? It's like everyone paused, like everyone took a breath, waiting to let the breath out. And then after those earnings came out for NVIDIA, shoot. Y'all better know what y'all know. Look, if you know, you know. I now understand those initials. Jeff Bezos' net of $8.5 billion. That's with a B, Latrice Jones, after completing sale of 50 million Amazon shares. What can one person do with $8.5 billion? Can somebody tell me? Can somebody tell me what they can do? So before we get to the town hall meeting, and Derek is in the green room, Pastor-elect is in the green room. Deadline reports. Again, Latrice, I know you and my niece said y'all in. Davia, I'm sure you would be in on this too. And I'm sure Kim Carter will be in on this too. Listen, When Beyonce comes out and says she's going to do a country tour, we all going. We're going to have our cowgirl hats on, our cowboy boots on. We're going to have our jeans with our big buckle belts on. We're going to have all the jewels on. Listen, we rolling up in there, okay, y'all? Beyonce becomes the first Black woman to top Billboard country music charts with single Texas Hold'em, and that's a bad song. Seriously, I think my husband wants me to just like stop playing it. But I know every word to it. Park your Lexus, throw up your keys. I'm also the other things because those are some cuss words. But that girl is doing it. So congratulations to her. I see you, Deborah Sneed. I see you. All right, y'all. Town hall. Y'all ready for town hall? Remember the rules. What's up, Heather? Remember the rules, y'all. Remember the rules. When you stop commenting, the town hall stops. When you stop commenting, the town hall stops. Latrice says, I'm trying to learn to dance now. There's about 5 or 6 of the dances that are out there. I'm like, which one? Because I want to do it on TikTok and I want to do it on Instagram. Yeah, I'm pumped today. Listen, I think it's a mixture of going to the Columbus Fury and it's a mixture of NVIDIA. It's just like a combination and I'm about ready to just bust wide open. So bring Dr. I don't elevate him to doctor. I'm going to just leave it there. Bring Dr. Derek Combs on in here. What's up? And again, everybody, please be patient with us. We were having some technical difficulties, but you can still hear his audio. So good morning. All right, so let me go over some more critical thinking questions. I started with some last week. I'm going to do some more this way. Oh, thank you, girl. I'm going to do some more this way. Critical thinking, I want all of you all to be thinking of these things, and these questions will also be in the Friday rundown tomorrow. Some critical thinking: in what ways is the government addressing inequities in healthcare access and outcomes among marginalized populations? Can you outline the government's efforts to combat child food insecurity and ensure that all children have access to nutritious meals regardless of socioeconomic status? Another critical thinking question: how is the government tackling environmental injustice and ensuring that marginalized communities are not disproportionately burdened by pollution and environmental hazards? Y'all better write that question down, because when we start talking about the drinking water here, you're going to be like, say what? What specific actions or programs are being implemented to promote environmental justice and address disparities, access to clean air, water, and green spaces? Yeah, I'm on this. Y'all better pay attention when we talk about this clean water piece. Is that right, Derek? And are there any collaborative efforts between federal agencies, local governments, and community organizations to address these issues comprehensively and effectively? If so, what are some of the examples of successful collaborations? Again, we will put the critical thinking questions in the Friday rundown. So if you happen to attend a town hall meeting, you can ask some of these questions. It's so important. So Derek, good morning. First off, congratulations being pastor-elect to Union Grove Baptist Church in Columbus, Ohio. That sounds so good. I'm so excited for you. Also, y'all remember he was a part of the national organization with Acorn. Yeah, I told y'all last time, he likes to go under the radar, but I'm going to just talk about him like I did last week. Y'all, he can go to the White House. Like, hello, this is Derek Combs, let me in. He has that kind of power, okay? So that's just who he is. He's doing a lot of organizing work. He's doing a lot with his writing, putting pieces out there, encouraging people. So y'all, let's get started. Again, welcome to part 2 of this specific town hall.
Big well, first, I appreciate that. I am here for all your energy today. Listen, I'm here for all of it. There's so much. Listen, you had me at what in the world is Operation Wetback. Listen, so I'm here for all of the entire smoke. And thank you for the remarks. And even in the chat, I see. Thank you so much for the congratulations and the warm reception around that. I'm really excited and ready to get to work. So thank you. And look, let's jump right in. Let's jump right in, because I'm excited to get to some of this. It's been an interesting week in the political world. So
it's been crazy. Like, what? Yeah. Well, okay, let's start with the headline news that I shared about. He's telling you, I'm about to have a mass deportation. Yeah. Like, I'm about to come in and get you out immediately. And he's running on that. That's why the bill that the Senate passed, Speaker Johnson said it's dead on arrival because I spoke with Trump and he said that's what he's running on. So start there.
Yeah. So there are a couple things, right? First of all, and I think it was Antoinette, somebody put it in the chat, and I think it's worth noting. Listen, we should be very clear that let's think macro. So whether the elephant or the donkey or the Green Party or whomever, in this season, everybody is talking to their base. Everybody is, right? So even when we talk about drinking water and we talk about loan forgiveness and all of that, be clear, there's a reason that's being released and put out right now, because it is speaking specific to a base, because everyone's trying to organize their vote and mobilize it to the polls. We should be very, very, very clear. Even though we hear what 45 is saying, we should be clear that he is not talking to us. He is speaking to folk, right, who have a set of ideologies and a worldview, right, that aligns with that, even if they don't support it. Now, here's the interesting thing with Boehner and all of that, right? So on paper, in front of a camera, I'll go ahead and say, oh, well, that's shot down as soon as it makes it to me. I'm not for that. But what we saw at the polls was that there were all types of people that are very much on that. So we need to be careful. Listen, we need to be very, very clear that what sounds good is to get in front of a camera and go ahead and say, oh, I would never think, and that level of bigotry and that level of racism is abhorrent. That's what you want to say, but it gets different behind the curtain. We should be clear that it was 84% of people who don't look like you and I who voted for that guy, even though every statistician known to humanity said that there was no way that he would win the election. Yeah. So we have to be very careful that even though it's ridiculous, and it's ridiculous to us, right? And there are people who say it's ridiculous, right? We should also know that he's speaking to his base, and he's using codified language to talk to the folk that he knows will vote behind a curtain where no one keeps track of it. The big thing today should be accountability, by the way. Someone should throw a hashtag that says hashtag holding you accountable. Because what I would love is for somebody to say, hey, you know what? That's getting struck down as soon as it happens. And then there should be an accountability to make sure that happens. Because somehow people say that stuff doesn't make it to the floor, and the next thing you know, it becomes a law. So I just think that we need to be careful when people espouse that type of rhetoric in front of a camera, and then don't align their practice with their with what they say. Yeah.
Now, what's the hashtag again? And by the way, y'all, he may be frozen, but his audio is still coming through. So just listen to the audio. And again, we're having storms. Like it snowed on Saturday, but thunderstorms today, but whatever. So we can still hear him. So thank you. So keep going with it. But what's your hashtag again before I go to the next section?
Man, holding you accountable. Hashtag holding you accountable. Look, you can't just say just anything and we not pay attention to what it is that you do. Now, listen. Now, and let me just real quick, and here's the deeper part of that, and I mean this very seriously. Here's the deeper part of that. We are in a moment where when that type of rhetoric comes out over and over and over again, as humans, we become desensitized to it. Here's the larger problem. Here's the larger problem with people like 45. And by the way, he's not he's Frankenstein, right? He's the manifestation of the thing, but he's not actually the thing. You could scratch out his name and put DeSantis. You could scratch out his name and put all types of other folk who think the same way. He just is so cavalier where he doesn't care about saying it. The actual problem is when that type of political rhetoric becomes normalized, then we don't think about it. It mutes the activistic part of our function. So what happens when people just get used to hearing that over and over again to where it becomes the norm? And this is why platforms like News in Motion, here's your commercial. This is why platforms like News in Motion are so important, because what it does is it offers the counterweight to that type of rhetoric. And here's the commercial that Gail didn't ask me to do. And this is why we need to support these type of mediums, because it gives another side and another voice to preserve the democratic energy within the Republic.
I appreciate that. Thank you for that. So I want to dig in. Yeah, we covered last week, and we're already in. But we had so many pages. Where should we start? Look, I want to go to the drinking water.
Yeah.
So y'all, there's a fact sheet, and I'll put as many of these as I possibly can in the Friday rundown, where they announced $5.8 billion in funding for clean water infrastructure from President Biden's Investing in America agenda. Now, then there's a bipartisan infrastructure law for $22 billion. You know, you and I like to add up the B's, like, what? And then it's the largest investment in clean water in American history. My first question to you is this, Pastor Holmes. Is all of our water dirty? And are we sleeping on the fact that because we're drinking bottled water or filtered water that we have no idea what kind of water is out here, that they're throwing all of these billions of dollars into water? Please speak to that.
Listen, yes. And we should be very clear. I have a bias when I hear all of this. I am from New York City, born and raised in the Bronx. I have no memory of growing up with clean water. So listen, you're not going to surprise me. In fact, it's crazy to me that in 2024, some benevolent administration decided to all of a sudden make the water clean for everybody else. The question we should be asking is, what in the world have you been doing, right, for that long to where now all of a sudden we have to be concerned about water? Now, remember, when we talked last week, we were talking about how this doesn't have to do with people being nice, right? This is trying to preserve the empire. So listen, if you have a group of people who are drinking poor water and as a result developing cancer, having poor health, not able to navigate family, so you can't go to work, so that way they can't tax your dollar, so that way it can't finance the empire. All of this is trying to make sure that people are okay, so that way the empire can still function the way it is. This is not because someone's being polite. This is because the bus driver of the empire is trying to make sure it doesn't crash. So we should be very clear. That's exactly what's going on there. But here's the thing, Gail. It's not just the insane amount of money that is being offered to all of a sudden clean up the water across the nation, right? Right? Because be clear, in our community, we know that there's been dirty water in Flint. There's been dirty water in Arkansas. In fact, Arkansas is actually named in the fact sheet. So it's funny how it didn't make national news, but it's okay to talk about it now because it's an emergency, right? Dirty water in Flint, dirty water in Arkansas, dirty water in Mississippi. By the way, those are all places where there are a whole bunch of Black people, right? Dirty water in parts of Georgia, dirty water on the East Coast, dirty water in Oakland, right? All over the country, this has been an issue. But here's the deeper thing. The concern hasn't been being able to finance it, right? The concern hasn't been that. What the actual problem has been local legislation and local officials who have been misappropriating funds. Listen, all types of money moves through our cities across the nation, but somehow it doesn't make it to undeserved communities. Listen, when all that happened in Flint, it wasn't just the lead and the piping. It was the fact that Rick Snyder was taking literally millions of dollars and doing whatever in the world he wanted to. It was insane and unreal, right? So what I would like to see, just me personally, is not only the investment in fixing the pipes and getting the lead out and investing in making sure the water's clean and filtration is right, but what also makes sense is to hold accountable. Listen, hashtag holding you accountable. We are not just going to give you money and then just believe that you're going to do what we say to do with it. Listen, we're holding you accountable. Whoever's in charge, you remember when that happened in Flint? And then that governor decided to make himself a king and not listen to anybody else and didn't care who was dying or who was sick or whatever. And people from all around the country, here you go, Black churches from all around the country started trying to make sure that people had water. It had nothing to do with it being underfunded. It had something to do with officials not being held accountable. So thanks for the $8 billion that you're going to contribute to make our water right. Wish you would have did it a little earlier, but I'm curious to see how this administration holds elected officials accountable going forward.
Yeah, it's crazy because real quick, y'all, before I go over to student loan debt, and then we'll get to child food insecurity. But the EPA is announcing over $3.2 billion through the Drinking Water State Revolving Fund. Then there's a $31 billion, and then there's a $50 million with Ridgeway, Colorado. And then Arkansas Valley, we're talking $1 billion. Then Great Lakes Restoration Initiative, another $1 billion. They're talking about replacing the pipes. They're talking about Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, lead and copper rules. Y'all, this is so intertwined. Pastor Holmes, I was shocked. I was like, how deep is this? And so you're not hearing this on regular news media.
Right.
You're not hearing this. But y'all, I was reading this going, what in the world? So go ahead. I know you was going to say something, Pastor Holmes.
I was just going to say, and we should also be thinking about, so listen, they're saying, hey, we're going to invest all this money. We're going to fix these pipes. We're going to go ahead and put these systems in to make the water right. All of those places that were named in that dossier and all these places are struggling with it are places where there are persons who look like you and I and who also are struggling with jobs. I wonder who they're going to hire to do it.
I was talking about that yesterday on News in Motion. It's like, where do we send resumes? Like, back to last Thursday, how do we access this money? Because there's a lot of money on the table. Let me keep going. You also have 2.6 billion. Then you have closing America's waterways access. Then you have Alabama, you're talking 8.7 million. And then finally, you have over 1 billion dedicated to addressing emergence like PFAS, bringing the total funding announced for emerging contaminant to nearly 5 billion, y'all. 5 billion. And then you have another 33.5 million. So that's a whole lot of money. Who, as Pastor Holmes asked the question, who's going to hire our people? When are we going to make that known? But in order to do that, let's get on over here to the student loan. Can we talk about it? Biden administration has canceled $1.2 billion in federal student loan debt for roughly 153,000 people who borrowed less than $12,000 and have made payments for the last 10 years. So let's talk about that, because a lot of people are saying they're not going to complete the application or they don't want to go and do that. So on one hand, Pastor Holmes, answer this for me, if you will. And I need to hear y'all in the chat. Y'all got quiet in the chat. Y'all know when the chat stops talking, we in this. So we want to know if y'all are relating to what's being said here. But on one hand, we can't even ask to access the other money to become vendors, consultants, small businesses, this, that, or the other. We cannot do that until we access and utilize the money that's out there for us. So we can't cry foul when there's other money on the table that we won't even complete a 2-minute form behind. Can you please speak to that?
Yeah, so it's twofold, right? So if there's the opportunity to have debt forgiven, we have to go ahead and do our part and participate. And I believe that our people are able to pat our heads and scratch our stomachs at the same time, right? We can hold a system accountable, pay attention to the politics, while also positioning ourselves for something that might be good, right? It's not a either or, and we don't have to operate in extremes. We can certainly do both. Hashtag fill out the application, right? But at the same time, we have to have a certain perspective and context in which we're thinking about it. So if you're talking about what they say, it was one of the things was the largest Pell Grant increase, right? So for families that earn $60,000 or less, you'll have an increase in the Pell Grant, and that's cool. But we should also own that nationally across the board. College costs people about $100,000 to go to school. Little known Snapple fact that it costs 6 figures for people to go and get education. If I had more time, I would actually tell you that Germany, Iceland, Norway, Panama, and Kenya all offer college for free somehow and 2 of those countries are war torn. Neither here nor there. Carrying on, it's $100,000 to go to school nationally in the United States of America. And so while that seems like a lot of money in some ways in terms of what they're doing with forgiveness, right? The truth is that when they start talking about what they're putting in, it doesn't necessarily cover the balance, right?
Right.
In the dossier, it talks about doing it for 4 years, right? The 4-year graduation program for undergrad has been so gone. In fact, there are people on the thread right now that can testify that they know that it takes longer than 4 years to get done with a 4-year program for a bunch of reasons, right? So we should just be clear about what's actually happening between the lines with that money. And even though it's great to talk about forgiveness, I think it should be forgiven. I struggle with forgiving a debt, right? With forgiving a debt and still having to pay something. And that was actually later on, when you read down on it, it was talking about forgiving it. It didn't say forgive it altogether for some folk. It talked about how they're just going to decrease the amount that you have to pay back. I think it was something like below 5%, or something like that. There's a presumption from the administration that says that amount is easy for people to navigate. And the truth is that some people just don't have it. Listen, I'm paying back student loans today, and by God's grace, I am doing all right. But you need to know that, listen, there was a real period in time where I just didn't have it, right?
Yeah.
Where I just didn't have. Come on, the math ain't mathing. Listen,
Math ain't mathing.
Math ain't mathing. Like, we should just be clear and be able to have even perspective. So yes, position ourselves. You are an American in this country, right? You have earned the right. Your ancestors did a whole bunch of work, so that way you can even be in a position to have some of this forgiven. Listen, if you don't want to do it for you, do it for someone in your lineage who wanted to go to college and couldn't, and actually deserves to have that debt paid off. Do it for the generations that come after you. But make time and sign up, but also hold somebody accountable to what the numbers actually look like, because it's not helping as many people as they think.
Right. And here's the line that you were talking about. It says, and starting in July, undergraduate loan payments will be cut in half, capping a borrowed loan payment of 5% of their discretionary income. So we have to follow this. And this says already 7.5 million borrowers are enrolled in the SAVE plan, and 4.3 million borrowers have a zero monthly payment. So only 4.3 million out of the, I don't know, the 3.9 million. So that number is different. And then they, on the website, I know y'all probably can't see this here, but on the website, there's a chart there that helps you look at all of this. So make sure you go to the SAVE, and you just go to, what is the?
studentaid.gov/save.
Thank you. Can you say that again, please?
You go to studentaid.gov/save. That's the loan forgiveness program that the administration is just putting out, and it has the information. I went and actually looked at it, and it has the information around kind of the details. But listen, you're not going to catch me blindly co-signing anything that comes from any government, right? So there's an opportunity to do what Gail always says, and do your homework, right, and actually figure out whether or not that actually works for you. Yeah, and by the way, Regina's right. Listen, they know it's not helping many people. Remember, in this season, people are speaking to their base, so that way they can mobilize people to the poll. So they're trying to make sure that someone can say, hey, Biden-Harris went ahead and forgave loans. Biden-Harris is helping us with our water. We should go ahead and vote for them. Now, I'm not telling you what to do, but we should definitely be holding people accountable for what they're actually doing.
Fair and balanced. So let's get to this one. I want to at least get to this one because this is one of our things here on News and Motion. What's up, Shirley Nicholson? Combating child food insecurity, the Department of Agriculture, USDA, will help close the summer hunger gap for children eligible for free and reduced price school meals for implementing new summer nutrition options, including to-go or home-delivered summer meals. Now, they're talking $2.5 billion in grocery benefits. Now, there's still a food issue. So I don't know. When I go back to the Super Bowl, and I believe it was 17.5, I think I had that number somewhere. 17.5 million in a 75-second commercial of a Christian commercial. Should that 17.5 million be, I think that, okay, we want people to come to know who the Lord is, but should that 17.5 million, could that have gone to feeding some children? I'm just asking for a friend.
Well, again, it's in the nuance, right? So first of all, we should be very concerned about movements that promote Jesus, right? There's something, would Jesus be comfortable with a commercial talking about navigating homeless when my Bible teaches me about not publicizing what we do in aid of others, right? So we should just fundamentally own that. Also, we should do the homework and look at the companies and organizations that are behind that type of promotion, because when you get down to what they're actually about, right, a lot of it is very contrary to the mission and mandate that we have in Jesus's life. That's another session for another time, but we should be very clear about the commercial. Listen, I know that food insecurity is a huge problem in our country. Most of the poor people in the United States are children who aren't able to provide for themselves, right? And we should be very clear about that. That said, this is actually one of the initiatives that I'm completely behind. Again, I grew up in the inner city. I am a product of free lunch, right? There was a very real time where I grew up in the Bronx, so I grew up in the food desert, right? So for those who aren't familiar, that's where you don't have a grocery store close to you. You don't have access to produce. I have memories of going from the Bronx all the way to Brooklyn to get apples, right? Like, so that's just the reality. This type of initiative, where it's community-based, right, would be something that's advantageous to communities that struggle with this. But again, it's not just the initiative, but we have to hashtag, we're holding you accountable, right? Where are you getting these vans? Where are you getting the produce from? What does it look like? Where exactly is this going? You're talking about $1 billion, right? In a specific community, right?
Yep.
We should talk about what that actually looks like, right? What type of food is actually going to be served, right? Is it food that's specific to community, especially now where the population is becoming so diverse in America, right? So it's not so here you go. There was a real period 20 years ago where black and brown meant a very specific thing in America. It now means something completely different. In the city I live in Columbus, Ohio, it's not just black and brown folk, right? You have African American, right? You have Latino, you have Puerto Rican, you have Dominican, you have Eritrean, you have Ethiopian, you have Somalian, right? So what does that actually look like, right? And it's not just saying something writ large, right? But it's actually talking to the minutia, and we should be holding them accountable, because if we don't hold people accountable to talk to that, then they'll do what they want to do, and we have to just hold people accountable in a better type of way.
I must have missed this one. I see it's from Marion. She says, Latrice Jones said earlier that some college campuses have food banks to address food insecurity.
Yeah, listen.
That list.
Yeah, I was broke in college, and I was on scholarship. Listen, I was poor. In fact, I won't even tell you some of the things that I had to resort to in order to make sure that I could eat while I was in college. I would tell you, but y'all just announced that I'm the pastor-elect. I don't want you to judge me, but listen, the things I had to do in order to make sure that I had meals while I was in school. Thank God for a home church that sent me care packages every now and then. Look, but that's a real thing, and I don't know if we're always talking to that. Heather Crabtree posted something that was interesting, though. She said,
find it. There it is.
Yeah, there it is, that are living in poverty, right? And when we're talking about, what we're talking about writ large is community revitalization, right? When we're talking about navigating the water, when we're talking about navigating food insecurity, we're talking about reviving communities. Kids do better in school when they're not worried about meals, when they can just focus and not be hungry, right? People are better going to work when they're rested, because they haven't had to work 2-3 jobs in order to try to make ends meet. The truth is that there's an opportunity for us to address the amount of money that's moving through our communities, that should be moving through our communities, and how it's actively addressing that reality of poverty, right? That there are people there. In fact, I want to hold space while we're on here, just to hold space for those of us who are making broke look real good. I want to hold space for the folk who are living in poverty, like Heather's talking about every single day. And most people who interact with you will never know just how much you are making these dollars stretch in order to be all right. And Heather, you're right. You know, I'll say it. I had to get with some folk because our church has a community cover. The church that I presently serve has a community cover, and I had to get with some folk about, hey, listen, we want people to take this, but no one's going to eat this. You wouldn't eat this, so why would we put it in position for somebody else?
Right.
That's the accountability we have to hold from the top all the way down.
That is so true. That is so true. Y'all, we could keep going. There's so many more items on here. Tackling environmental injustice, delivering on Justice 40 initiative, expanding care for women, veterans, fostering community development in rural and tribal communities, using rental payment history to advance home ownership. And remember, I shared with y'all yesterday in New York, the Empire building, the Supreme Court said, "No, we ain't going to deal with this." I gave you all the no's from the Supreme Court yesterday. reforming disaster assistance program to help survivors recover faster, supporting disadvantaged farmers, that's the USDA, ensuring contracting opportunities for small disadvantaged businesses. I do want to touch on that one before we go. Going back to connecting the dots with this money. Y'all, there's so much money. I know from here alone on News and Motion since January, we probably talked maybe about 50, 60 trillion with a T when you combine it all together. Why are we accessing any of that? So this is what they say about small disadvantaged businesses. And these are the SDBs. The Department of Treasury awarded $1.2 billion in fiscal year 2023, representing for the first almost 12% of eligible small business dollars available for Treasury contracts. Oh, what? Why can't we get those? In addition, the Treasury awarded a total of $2 billion. Now we're up to $3.2 billion to businesses of all sizes, including to women-owned businesses and minority-owned businesses. I think I fit in that category. I didn't get any of this.
I think you do too.
It's like, and then it says these steps further President Biden's goal of ensuring 15% of federal contracts go to SDBs by 2025. Well, go where? Where is it?
Don't miss it. If 15% of that budget goes to small businesses, to Black business, to minority-owned business, that means that 85% does not. Listen, we shouldn't be settling. Where anywhere are you settling for 15%? There's no job that you would sign up and say, we're going to give you 15% of our budget for employees. When is that ever okay? Listen, hashtag holding you accountable. You are not going to get up here and just throw these numbers around and think that we're so broke that we don't know how to count. That's crazy to me. That 15% means that 85% ain't even thinking about us, right? And we should be clear, we demand more. In fact, y'all, listen, y'all, I'm gonna get in trouble. I don't care. Look, we give more to where we deserve more than 15%. That sounds crazy, especially when there's this big push towards starting business. Because here's what the government will tell you. The government will tell you that the way to get ahead is actually for you to be your own boss, right? To start your own business. But now if you have, don't miss it, connect the dots. If there's this 15% that now we have to fight to get a piece of, we're not fighting with them, we are now fighting with ourselves. And if we're fighting with ourselves and we can't mobilize in a way that pushes us toward liberation, listen, hold them accountable.
Yes.
What do you mean 15%? Listen, you know how mad they would be if 15% of the Black vote went out to vote for them? Oh my God. You know how upset they would be if 15% of us decided to pay our taxes, but it's okay for us to take the 15 cents. That is absolutely insane. That is asinine, asinine, 11, 12. That's crazy to me that somebody who people voted in said, we're going to get, here you go, we're going to give them, be clear about the language when he said that was everybody who's marginalized in this country, right? Brown folk and women and Black folk, we're going to give them 15%. Listen, I'm not on a plantation. So you're not going to give me these slop and tell me, no, I'm done making soul food. No, I want real food. I've done too much. No, 15% is absolutely crazy from the richest, most powerful nation in the world. That is nuts to me.
It's nuts. And even with that, and y'all, these are the kind of conversations Derek and I have one-on-one, and we just go all the way in. I'm just so glad that you did not hold back with sharing that right there. And even in addition to that, even within the 15%, we can't even access it. We don't even know where it is to even get to the 15%. But you're right. That's why we are still fighting each other. That's why we're still keeping, like, this is my territory over here. We don't want you coming in. So we still have that slavery, that house Negro, field Negro mentality. Because I need a piece of this 15%. I don't even know where to go. And they're only sharing it with a select few. And we should be mad about that. We should be mad about that. I'm going to go back to this because I'm just all in. I'm just all in. And I got
no 15% in Silicon Valley. I bet there's no 15% in San Francisco. I bet that there is no 15% over in Martha's Vineyard. I bet they would go crazy if the federal government said that they were giving a community 15% to work with. That's nuts to me.
Right. You're right. You're right.
Hood on. That's crazy to me.
No, he didn't put his hood on. Yeah, I know his. There's a clear picture of him right there. He's put his hood on. Yeah, and thank y'all for working with this. I can hear the rain falling hard where I'm at. So that's what's happening to the string, but y'all can still hear him audibly, and he has his hood on. So let's just be excited about that. But I'm gonna say this. And again, I am not going to ever hide thanking Kim Edmondson for even getting my mindset right around this whole financial piece. They bank every day, Monday through Friday, when the stock market is open. It's mind-blowing. I'm still in the education phase of it, but yeah, it's the best kept secret. Now, if you a gambler, don't do it. Because you can lose a lot of money. But if you are studying and understanding it, I would encourage people to look into it. Again, there's things out there. Kim Edmondson still does coaching. You have to pay her, but connect with Kim Edmondson. Again, Cassandra Cummings was on here with us a couple of weeks ago. Check her out. See what's happening there. There's a lot of opportunity. So let's not settle for the 15% they've given us. Let's look at how they doing it so that we can get the whole pie too. And y'all, Derek still has his hood on.
Here's the thing, right? Because part of this is, I think activism without an agenda is pointless, right? So we should always be thinking about what it is that we can do. So when we're talking about money moving through communities and how it whether you're a small business owner, whether you're living day to day through poverty, whether you have a young person who's having to exist with poverty and figure out how to believe in something bigger, here's something you can do right now. You can log off of News in Motion when this is over. Don't log off now. Stay here right now, right? But you can when this gets done, you can actually call downtown to your local official. You can call your mayor. You can call your city council, and you can ask about federal funds that go through every community in the United States and how come it doesn't make it to your community and what you need to do to access resources that were intended for you from the federal government. That's something that you can do right now. That's a way you are going to scare so many people. In fact, you can do it and you can invite 5 other people to do it. That's something you can do right now. You can do that today and say, hey, listen, the federal government designated these millions of dollars that are supposed to be coming to my community, and my community is struggling. My community doesn't have a library. My community doesn't have appropriate food programming. My community is operating in poverty. And the reason why that's important, just as a side note, is because the way that our communities are policed in a lot of ways is around broken window policing, and poor communities get more police attention, and the higher police attention leads to misconduct. That's not me making that up. The Department of Justice said that. So there's a way in which you can hold the local officials accountable, because here's the thing. If progressive is up here at a federal level, but then conservatism and oppression is operating at a state level, there can be things here that are actually good that just don't make it to us because people don't know and they don't hold anybody accountable. So right, call to action. Listen, you should be calling your local official, call your mayor, call city council, call that person that keeps showing up to your church, right? And say, hey, listen, I know that the government is doing stuff. I saw on News in Motion that the government is doing stuff that's supposed to make it to my community, but somehow it is not making it there, yet I keep seeing stuff getting built up over there. What in the world is going on, and how do I access those resources? And when you start holding people accountable, you'd be surprised how people switch their pitch.
Yes, that's true. That's true. If y'all wonder why I'm smiling and I'm so geeked, it's because the information we are putting out here, it is making a difference. We've been hearing from some of our viewers saying, thank you for this. I have a better understanding. I wrote a letter to my representative, so forth and so on. And so I get excited about this. I get excited about a Derek Holmes. I get excited about a Cassandra Cummings. I get excited about a Kim Edmondson, a Latrice Jones, a Davia Stevenson. Y'all listen, if y'all have not subscribe to Davia's YouTube, do it today. Stop waiting for it. Do it today. And listen to all of her episodes, even go back and come forward. Absolutely some phenomenal content there. Absolutely phenomenal. Before we get out of here, and this is, y'all know I've been keeping up with, and I see y'all all in the chat. I had to go to YouTube over to see what all of y'all saying. And if some of you have to be in the live segment to be able to chat with us. So make sure you're in the live segment to be able to chat with us. But in addition to that, I know I've been talking about during Lent, we want to circle people in prayer. I've been doing the 40-day circle. And there it is, y'all. All of you YouTubers, now once we put up our outro, I want y'all to click that link on Davia's and subscribe. And then take, I don't know, an hour a day over the next several days and watch all of her episodes, or binge watch her episodes like you do on Netflix or TikTok or whatever, because I'm telling y'all, it's phenomenal. It's absolutely phenomenal. And I don't know how I can get y'all to understand this. I think her stuff is fire, like straight fire. She should be on national television. I'm not joking. I'm not joking. And I love her, yes, but I'm not joking. Her product is that powerful. It's life-changing. Married folks, let me just give Davia a commercial for a minute. Married folks, follow her on Instagram. Seriously. She don't hold anything back. And she'll have her nice dressing on. That blue is the bomb. What is that, Como? However you call it, whatever those are called. And she has her journal. And y'all know Davia has this look when she has her ink pen in her hand and her glasses on, and she's looking at you and she's writing in her journal. Pay attention, because she's going to slap you when she's writing in that journal. It's like, oh gosh, did you really have to go there? She talks about goals. She talks about living. She talks about healthy living. She talks about how to go beyond being toxic and being around toxic people. She talks about how to get along with your spouse. And we all know, and if you married and if you say you don't have these problems, you lying. She talks about how not to kill your spouse. No, sir, let me change that wording, because we'll get censored here. She talks about how to find a loving way to be with your spouse. She talks about how to get along with your friends. Y'all, pay attention. Pay attention. She's that person. Okay, she's that person. Again, I love her as a friend. But I'm not saying this because she's my friend. I love her. I'm saying this because her content is that powerful. It is life changing. I don't even know why I'm getting ready to like cry in here. That's how powerful her Tales from the Shaker. Powerful. We support all types of things. Let's support Adavia Williams Stevenson today. Please. And don't keep it to yourself. Share it with somebody else. Share it with somebody else. I don't even know what I was going to say now because I got stuck on Davia. Regina Short says Davia's interviews are amazing. Then Davia's laughing about, haha, not the glasses and the pen. Girl, when you put them glasses on and you get that ink pen, you got your journal open. I said, oh God, here we go. She's getting ready to slam us. It's like you got to brace yourself. When that happens and you have this calmness about you, it's like, oh, we're going to get sliced up because she's getting ready to say something so gentle, but it's going to like just stab us like, ooh. And then she turns it a little bit like, all right, you all right, good people, have a good day. Hey, good people. When she even starts with that, no, something's coming. Something's coming. Just prepare yourself. But we should all get to that place of maturity that we can listen and live and deal with it. So again, I don't know where I was headed, but I saw Davia on here and I need to tell y'all about her. So anyway, Derek, you are phenomenal. Oh, the prayer. So Lent prayer. I want us to circle today Secret Service. And I want us to circle them because we have no idea the intel they receive, what's happening in and around. So let's just circle them in prayer that they also have a protection of their families. Now remember, Secret Service, they have family members. So let's pray for them. Let's circle them in prayer. Let's pray that they are focused. Let's pray that they protect whoever they are assigned to protect and they give it their all. Let's pray for their own protection as well, because we never know what's going to happen. And with so much unrest in the world today, they need to be protected. So I want us to pray for them. And then And from there, Derek, if you want to jump in, please do. But the inspirational message for today is, y'all know, something happened to me last. I got seriously free. I mean, free. And I want all of us, and we went through Psalm 27 yesterday. I read the whole Psalm out of the New Living Translation. Y'all, freedom in Christ is amazing. You truly don't care what people say, think, nothing. You do you hear from God and you act on that. You live your life in abundance. You don't worry about this, that, or the other, if I'm doing it right or not doing it right, or where do I go, or how do I go, or how do I speak. I was in a room yesterday of some, somebody was like, well, you was in the room with those people? It's like, yeah, I was. Yeah, it was cool sitting there talking to the Olympian. Like, but some people are like, oh, I don't know. She has on her gold medal. And like, she worked for it. She's people just like we are. Go say hello. I met a woman from Vineyard who was going to Vineyard Church. And actually, Davey, I talked about you and your husband to this person. Her name is Lisa. I can't think of her last name. I have her card, so I'll give it to you later. They just joined one church in Gahanna. And we were talking, they were saying they were probably one of the oldest couples in the church. I said, oh, I know another one who said the same one. Same thing. So I talked about you and your husband. And we were talking, and she goes, I really want to go get a picture. And this is with the investor of the Columbus Fury. And I said, go get a picture. And she said, oh, no, I can't. I said, there's people over there already getting pictures, so go ahead and get a picture. And she didn't want to. I said, I'll walk with you. You really want to get a picture, so you're going to go get a picture. And afterwards, she said, wow, your boldness behind that. I said, every day, Tuesday through Thursday, I have a broadcast, and I tell them, make bold moves. I said, so this was your bold move. The two people exchanged phone numbers. The conversations that they had afterwards. So she found me later in the game, and she says, wow, thank you. She goes, how are you that free to do it? I said, my freeness came this past summer. And I said, and no, ain't no stopping me now. I said, because you never know if you'll ever have that opportunity when you have a thought to do something. So this inspirational message is, go with the flow. Go with your heart. Don't live in regret. Don't live in regret. Don't do it. Go for it. Go with it, everything that you have. Derek, do you want to add anything to that before we get out of here?
You said it better than I did, but I think that our goal, for those who believe in a higher power, for those who are in my tradition, who believe in God through Jesus Christ, the goal should be liberation. The goal should be to live free. It is the intent of the divine that we not be bound by anything, whether it's someone's opinion, whether it's structures and apparatus, whether it's the things of our past, right? Even, here you go, and I'll leave it with this, even with the things that may have happened in our lives, right, that cause us to be frustrated. We carry that stuff with us when it happens to us. Someone does something wrong, we feel a way, we keep the beef forever, right? And God gives us freedom from that. If some of you haven't gone to Bible study, if you go to Hebrews in the 8th chapter and the 12th verse, it finds God saying, for I will be merciful toward their iniquities, and I will remember their sins no more. It is the notion that God knows that we operate in ways that displease God, but through the love God has for us, God makes up God's mind to forgive that and then to remember them no more. That God pushes us forward. And if we're trying to live for God, we can't pick and choose the parts of God that we want to live for, right? God is a forgiving God, because God not only sees us in our now, but sees us in our future. And so what we have to do is see ourselves not only in our now, but in our future. And there's certain stuff that we can't carry with us, that we have to be free in order to get to what it is that God has for us. So right in line with what Gail says, right? Go with the flow, and then make sure you forgive somebody along the way. Listen, let it go. You don't need it. It ain't doing you no good. All you doing is stressing yourself out. That person, that thing ain't even thinking about you. It is literally in the past, and you don't live there anymore. Make up in your mind to be free, and then go forward in what God has for you.
Oh my God, that was powerful. That was powerful. Before we get out of here, many of you have been, thank you, Pastor Holmes. Many of you have been asking, okay, what's my break? What's my break? Well, Yeah, the Tuesday through Thursday has really given me a space to breathe. So we're not taking a full April break this year. We're not. We will take some time off, but it won't be a full April break because we've been able to find the balance and the way we're flowing in News in Motion right now and how we have set this thing up. Listen, I can't wait to get up. There were some moments last year where I was like, okay, do I want to do this again? But I'm now back as of September 2023. That freedom, that summer break launched me into something new. So we'll take some time off, maybe the week between Good Friday, Palm Sunday, and Easter. Maybe I don't know, because we will have time of rest. But we're not going anywhere. We're going to keep hanging out with y'all. But we want y'all to do something. We want y'all to continue to invite people to join us here on News in Motion, whether it's live or the replay. And something Pastor Holmes said to me last week that I will not neglect this week. And I'm going to throw it to him for him to do it, and then we'll sign out of here. But before I do that, y'all know what I say, stay well and make some bold moves. So Derek Holmes said, what are you doing with raising funds? And I was like, that's just not my thing. But there it is, Derek Holmes' thing. So Derek Holmes, I'm going to give it to you, and then I'll take us out of here.
Listen, I appreciate that, Gail. Thank you. Listen, the truth is that you don't need money in order to do ministry, in order to serve somebody, in order to care about somebody. But the truth is resources cost money, right? The truth is that what it makes for this to happen, to be able to stream this, to be able to have this content, the amount of time that goes into disseminating through all of that work, Gail doing all of the studying so that way you don't have to do as much of it, right? To make sure that the platform is navigated appropriately, to make sure that the platform mitigates against the realities of Meta and all these other things that are literally trying to push her out. We want to continue to support Gail with our prayers. We want to continue to support Gail with logging on and our participation. But listen, Gail definitely wants that type of support with resource. And we want to make sure that we're doing what we can. So here's the thing that you can do. You can do this right now. Gail, what's your Cash App? What's the Cash App?
It is, and I have a banner. Let me see if I can find it. Isaiah normally has it up here. It is N as in, here it is right here. N-I-N.
Listen, so what you can do right now is have that, take that Cash App, NIM today, right? And you can give $20 right now. You can give 20, and by the way, $20 is the floor and not the ceiling, right? You can contribute right now to make sure that this content doesn't go anywhere. Make sure that this level of awareness doesn't go anywhere. There's something powerful that happens in this. You don't get this level of talk and this level of real talk in one space. And so we want to make sure that we're supporting Gail because Gail is out here supporting us. And we want to make sure, in fact, if I were preaching, I would say that's where you were supposed to say amen. We want to support Gail because Gail is out here supporting us. And she's so humble, so she won't say it in this way. But listen, I care and I'm a friend and I have no problem saying it. Listen, here you go. We need to support because one of the ways that we move toward liberation is when we support our own. So I'm asking, Gail's not asking, I'm asking that every single person that's on here right now, go to your Cash App, go NIM today. If you don't have a Cash App, then you find Gail before close of business today and you figure out, and here you go. Don't even give what God puts on your heart. Give what God puts on your heart so that way this content and this platform and this medium can survive and continue to be a blessing to you. That's all I got.
Well, I appreciate that. That's as I share with you, that's my weak area. So, but thank you, Pastor Holmes, for joining us today for part 2. Y'all, this was phenomenal. Thank you. Y'all, let's continue to congratulate him. Once we know of his installation, we should all roll up into Union Grove, have our own Ocean segment.
I am here. Listen, I'm here for the pull-up. I have the privilege of pastoring a historic church in Columbus, historic social justice community engaged congregation. And I am here for the News in Motion selfie. Listen, once we get a date, I'll make sure you have it. I want all y'all to roll up on me and let's take a News in Motion selfie. Look, I think that'd be hard. So let's do that. I'm with it.
I love it. All right, y'all have a great weekend. Y'all know what I say. Stay well, everyone. And remember, make some bold moves. We are out.
motion.